Yo, what's good YouTube? I am back with another reaction video. And we got the curious case of Larry Bird and the 1981-1982 Boston Celtics. Shout out to Cindy. She definitely just gave me this video in the comments. So yeah, shout out to you, Cindy. Shout out to you. You've been definitely giving me, ever since I started, you've been giving me some good videos. So I know this gotta be a good one right here. But yeah, we about to get straight into it. But shout out to Cindy, y'all. Go follow her. But yeah, let's get straight into it. Description would definitely be, the channel would definitely be in the description, so definitely look out for it in the description. But yeah, man, it's been real, so let's get it. Shout out to Basketball Universe too.
Imagine telling the superstar of your team that's in the middle of his prime that he needs to come off the bench. Yeah, that never goes well. In most cases, those are conversations that coaches have with aging superstars that haven't come to the realization that they're not the same player anymore. It's extremely rare that a team feels the need to bench their best player, but it has happened to one of the legends of the game. Larry Bird was asked during the 1981-82 season to come off the bench for an extended period of time after leading his team to the title the previous year and finishing second in MVP voting. What was the reasoning behind this curious move? Let's start from the beginning. It all started when Bird got elbowed in the face and suffered a fractured cheekbone in a matchup against the Milwaukee Bucks. Larry had to leave the game and would be out for the next 5 games. To make matters worse, Tiny Archibald was also out with a shoulder injury, and he missed a total of 11 games that coincided with Bird's injury. Having to play without 2 of your best players is usually a recipe for disaster. However, the Celtics did not lose a single game from that 5-game span. When Bird returned, head coach Bill Fitch decided not to alter the starting lineup. They were in the middle of an 8-game winning streak, and he wanted to avoid messing up the team's momentum. So for the rest of the season, Larry Bird was asked to come off the bench. How was he going to respond to that? Was he going to pout? Was he going to throw his coach under the bus? Was he going to fake an injury because he's not used to coming off the bench? He didn't do any of that. He was ready to do whatever his coach asked of him. This is what he said after the end of the regular season, according to the New York Times. Quote, "It's the same thing for me as starting, except I come into the game a little later. I like to think I give people their money's worth when they come to a game. Even if I don't start, that doesn't mean I shouldn't play as hard as if I did. Then I'd be cheating the fans and my teammates and myself." End of quote. There was no difference in his play. During that 22-game stretch, he averaged a combined 21.3 points per game on 51.5% shooting, 10.3 rebounds per game, and 5 assists per game in 33 minutes per game. Prior to the injury, he was averaging 23.5 points per game on 49.9% shooting, 11.1 rebounds per game, and 6.1 assists per game in 39 minutes per game. He had the power to make this a much bigger deal, but that's not who Larry Legend is. He took the opportunity to become the greatest 6-man the league has ever seen, and the Celtics ended up winning 18 games in a row. That is tied for the 7th longest winning streak in history. During that streak, Boston outscored its opponents by an average of 11.6 points per game. There aren't many teams in history.
Hold on. It's been a minute since I had to pause like this now, because I don't think I've never seen that dunk now, y'all. Hold on a second. Let's pause it right there. Let's run it back real quick now.
Boston outscored its opponents by an average of 11.6 points per game. There aren't many teams in history that could have pulled off such a dominating stretch of games under those circumstances. Teams nowadays are too dependent on their star player, which a lot of times results in teams standing around waiting for the star teammate to go one-on-one. That reflects on their insanely high usage rate. According to basketballreference.com, 43 of the top 50 players with the highest usage rate for a single season came from players from the year 2000 and onward. 14 of those seasons had come from the past 6 years. It explains why we're seeing so many incredible numbers, but that usually doesn't equivalent to much playoff success. The teams that share the ball and their responsibilities usually are the most successful. Just look at what we've seen from the Spurs and Warriors in the last decade. To give an idea of how evenly the Celtics players contributed to the offense, Larry Bird had a usage rate of 25.2% that season. That would have been the 44th highest usage rate for the 2020/21 season, and it would have been just below the usage rate of Lou Williams, who was coming off the bench for that whole season. How crazy is that? But what do you know? The Celtics didn't need Larry Bird to have the ball at all times for them to be successful. In fact, it was Robert Parrish who had the highest usage rate for that team. So instead of revolving everything around Larry Bird, each player fulfilled their role that contributed to the betterment of the team. But that's also part of Larry Bird's greatness. He doesn't need the ball at all times to be effective. He was a player that had a unique understanding of how to control every aspect of the game and how to uplift his teammates' level of play. The Celtics weren't going to beat you with one player, but as a collective group. When you have Tiny Archibald, Parrish, Cedric Maxwell, and Kevin McHale, who was coming off the bench, there's no need to dominate the ball, and Bird understood that. That's why they were easily the best team in the league. But they fell short of making the finals. So why make such a big deal of this team? Well, the main reason they got defeated by the Philadelphia 76ers in the Eastern Conference Finals was due to a dislocated left shoulder that Tiny Archibald suffered within the first minute of Game 3. So that meant that Gerald Henderson was going to run the point for the rest of the series. Henderson was indeed much better on defense, but he was a big drop-off as a playmaker. We should give credit to Maurice Cheeks, who had a lot to do with shutting down Henderson on the offensive end. He averaged 10.6 points per game on 41% shooting, compared to the 50% shooting that he had during the regular season. The Celtics couldn't adjust to the loss of Archibald until it was too late, when they were down 3-1 in the series. They were able to force a Game 7, but the Sixers weren't going to allow themselves to lose a 3-1 series lead to the Celtics 2 years in a row. I believe it's fair to ask if the better team won that series. If Tiny Archibald was healthy, do the Sixers still beat the Celtics and advance to the finals? It begs the question since the Celtics beat the Sixers 4 out of 6 times in the regular season. We also have to note that Tiny was an all-star that year, so the Celtics didn't just lose a key role player. He was one of the stars in the league, so the unfortunate timing of that injury was a big reason why the Celtics fell short in the playoffs. If it wasn't for that, maybe we would have seen Larry Bird and Magic Johnson play in the finals a lot sooner than we did. But enough about the hypotheticals. I believe this is one of the most underrated teams ever, and is Larry Bird's most underrated season. It takes a truly special player to embrace a role that seems to be a demotion, and to continue to thrive as the best player in the world. A lot of players say they'll do whatever it takes to win, just as long as it fits their narrative. Larry Bird was truly willing to do whatever it took to help his team. This once again proves that the numbers don't tell half the story of Bird's greatness. There is simply no one like him.
Whoa, and then that was another dunk, and let's run that back real quick. And they saying he can't, yo, it's 2 dunks in here I did not see that he just did, and look how far he just jumped from too.
Tell half the story of Bird's greatness. There is simply,
hey, and they trying to say he can't what? Get out of here, man. Come on, let's just stop it. There's been enough videos I done did. Y'all gotta give him respect, man. But hey, like I say, it's gonna be some people out here, but
no one like him.
Man, that was a good view. Shout out to Cindy, y'all. Shout out to Cindy. Definitely gonna put the name in the description, man. Go get him a sub. If they do YouTube or not, go get him a sub. This is definitely a gem, man. That's crazy. But no, I actually did not know that. So shout out to you. Like, I didn't even see, man. I'm telling you, Cindy come in clutch every time for me. But yeah, that's about it, man. On to the next video. Yeah, I think Archibald also, you know. I really think Archibald, because somebody else was telling me about that game with the Sixers that he did have a shoulder injury. I remember seeing it in the comments. Somebody was telling me. So yeah, you never know what could have happened. Maybe they could have won, you know. But then again, I always believe in that it's everybody's time, you know. Everybody has their time. Everybody can't just keep winning and winning at all, you know. You win some, you lose some. You know, sometimes you gotta, like, you know, other teams gotta win it too. It's just, that's just how it is. This is life. That's just part of, like, how it is. Like, you know, I mean, I understand, like, okay, Lakers, but they got taken out too, though. So, you know, everybody has their time, really. Everybody has their time to shine. No matter who you are, you know, no matter who you are, everybody has their time to shine. But, yeah, I believe that, I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to say because it's like I said, you know, everybody has their time to shine. So I don't know. I really can't say. That's really hard for me to say. But let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that like button. We uploading every single day, man, non-stop. And we just gonna keep it rolling. We gonna keep it going. We gonna keep it pushing. But yeah, I love y'all, man. Deeply appreciate all the support y'all been showing me. And yeah, that's about it, man. I'm on to the next video. I love y'all. Peace. Thank you.